You know, there's just so much buzz, so much talk around AI agents lately,
Mhm.
and it can feel like, well, like you're missing something fundamental if you don't have that deep tech background, right?
Absolutely. It's easy to feel a bit lost.
hmm So for this deep dive, we really want to try and, cut through that confusion,
Yeah.
get a clear, usable picture of what AI agents actually are.
And we found a really helpful source for this. It's a YouTube video that breaks it down quite well, I think.
Oh, good.
Yeah, in a way that's pretty understandable, um, regardless of your tech level. So our goal today is pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Just give you a step-by-step way to grasp AI agents, starting with things that probably feel, pretty familiar already.
Right, build on what we know. And the plan is a sort of three-stage journey.
Exactly. We'll start with the basics, large language models, or LLMs.
Okay.
Then we'll look at what AI workflows are.
Right.
And then finally, level 3, we dive into AI agents themselves.
We use examples.
Yeah,
Real-world stuff.
definitely. Need those examples to make it stick. So, ready to jump into level 1, large language models.
Let's do it. LLMs.
Okay. So you've almost certainly bumped into things powered by LLMs already.
Like ChatGPT.
Exactly. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, those popular chatbots. They're built on LLMs.
Got it.
And their main thing, their core strength, is really generating text
Mm-hmm.
and, refining it.
Yeah, it makes sense. So you can kind of picture it as just input and output, right?
Pretty much. The human, you, gives it an input. That's the prompt.
Just the instruction or question.
Right. And the LLM uses all that data it was trained on.
Which is a ton of data.
A massive amount, yeah. And based on that, it generates an output, the text.
So like if I asked it to, I don't know, write an email for a coffee chat.
Perfect example. Your request, that's the input.
Okay.
And the polite, well-written email, it spits out. That's the output. You see that kind of thing constantly.
And this is where it gets interesting, right? What about their limits?
Uh-huh. Key point.
What happens if you ask it something it shouldn't know? Like, when's my next coffee chat?
Right. Even before it answers, you kind of know it won't get it right.
Why not, though? What's missing?
That really points to two really crucial traits of LLMs. First one, limited knowledge.
Okay.
Even with all that training data, their knowledge has walls. Big walls.
They don't know my stuff.
Exactly. They don't have access to your private information, your calendar, your company's internal files. None of that.
Right. So it can write about a coffee chat, like the email.
Yep.
But it can't tell me when my specific scheduled chat is. Makes sense. And the second trait?
They're passive.
Ah.
Fundamentally passive. They just wait. They wait for a prompt before they do anything at all. They don't go looking for info. They don't take actions on their own. You ask, they answer based on what they already know.
Okay, so limited knowledge of specifics and passive. Got it. Keep those in mind.
Definitely. Because that leads us nicely into level 2, AI workflows.
Right. So we have these LLMs, smart with text, but passive, limited knowledge. How do we make them do more useful things?
That's where you start adding logic, structure.
Yeah.
And that gets us to AI workflows.
Okay, how does that work? Let's use the coffee chat again.
Good idea. So what if we, the humans, tell the LLM, okay, look, if someone asks about a personal event, first go search their Google Calendar before you answer.
Ah, so you're giving it an extra step, a rule.
Exactly. We've added logic, a defined sequence. Check the calendar, then answer.
So now if I ask, when's my coffee chat with Elon Husky?
The LLM follows the rule. It goes, checks your Google Calendar,
Finds the appointment.
and gives you the correct time. So success for that specific question.
But only for that specific question, right? That's the catch with workflows.
That is the limitation, yes. What happens if you then ask, okay, what's the weather going to be like that day?
Well, the workflow we just set up only tells it to check my calendar.
Right.
My calendar doesn't have weather forecasts, so it fails.
It fails. It follows the instruction, checks the calendar, finds nothing about weather, and probably says it doesn't know.
So workflows are stuck on these predefined paths.
Precisely. That's a core trait. They only do what the human explicitly programmed them to do, step by step.
Like a very detailed recipe. Works if you follow it exactly.
Yeah, good analogy.
Yeah.
But if you need something slightly different, the recipe doesn't help.
But these workflows, they can get pretty complex, can't they? More than just one step.
Oh, absolutely. You can chain lots of stuff together. Imagine a more complex workflow for that event question.
Okay.
Maybe step 1, check the calendar like before. Step 2, take the date and location and query a weather API for the forecast.
Ah, connecting to another tool.
Exactly. And maybe step 3, feed the calendar info and the weather forecast into a text-to-audio model to read it out loud.
Okay, wow. So, calendar check, weather check, speak the answer. What would that sound like for the Elon Husky chat?
Well, the source had a funny example, something like, the weather forecast for seeing Elon Husky is sunny with a chance of being a good boy.
Okay, right. But even with all that calendar, weather, voice, it's still just a workflow. Why?
Because a human decided on every single one of those steps.
Ah,
Check calendar, then check weather, then convert to speech. The human defined the logic, the sequence, the tools. The AI is just executing the script.
okay. And this connects to that term, RAG, retrieval augmented generation.
It does, yeah. RAG is basically a common type of workflow pattern.
How so?
Think of it simply as telling the LLM, before you answer, go look stuff up.
Right.
Retrieve relevant info from a specific source, could be your calendar, a database, the internet, and then generate your answer using that retrieved info.
So it's augmenting its knowledge before generating. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a workflow with a built-in research step.
Gotcha. Now, the source mentioned a real-world example using make.com.
Right, that was a good illustration of a multi-step workflow.
What was the gist of it?
Okay, so it started by automatically grabbing news article links, maybe from an RSS feed, and putting them into Google Sheets.
Step 1, gather links.
Yep. Step 2, feed those links to another AI, Perplexity in this case, to summarize the article.
Step 2, summarize.
Step 3, take those summaries and feed them into Claude, another LLM, with a specific prompt written by a human.
A prompt like write LinkedIn posts based on these summaries.
Exactly. Draft social media posts,
Yeah.
then maybe a final step to schedule those posts. And this whole chain runs automatically, like daily.
Okay. Gather, summarize, draft, schedule, all predefined.
But what if the posts aren't good? Like the source joked about them not being funny enough.
Right. And that's the key workflow limitation again. If the output isn't right, say the LinkedIn post is dull.
Yeah.
A human has to step in. You have to go back, tweak the prompt you gave Claude, maybe adjust the summarization settings, run it again, see if it's better.
So the iteration, the improvement, is still manual, driven by the human. Exactly. The human is still the ultimate decision maker on quality and how to fix things. Keep that in mind. Human decision maker.
Okay, holding that thought, because now we get to the main event. Level 3, AI agents.
The big leap.
So we have LLMs, text wizards, but passive. We have workflows, follow human scripts, use tools. What's the magic dust that turns a workflow into an agent?
Okay, the absolute fundamental difference, the game changer, is swapping out the human decision maker
Uh-huh.
and putting the LLM itself in charge of the decisions.
Whoa. Okay, explain that.
An AI agent can reason. It can think about the best way to achieve a goal you give it without needing you to spell out every single step.
So it's not just following a script anymore.
Not at all. It's figuring out the script itself. That move from just executing pre-programmed steps to actually adaptively solving the problem to reach the goal. That's the core of it. That's autonomy.
Okay, let's apply that. Back to the social media posts. How would an agent tackle that differently than the workflow?
Right. So instead of the workflow's rigid steps, Sheets, Perplexity, Claude,
Yeah.
you'd give the agent the goal. Create engaging social media posts about recent AI news.
Just the goal.
Just the goal. And the agent starts reasoning. It might think, okay, goal is engaging posts. First, I need relevant news. What's the best way to get that? Search the web. Check specific APIs. Collecting links seems efficient.
So it's thinking strategically about the how.
Exactly. That's the reasoning part. And then comes the action.
Taking action.
Based on its reasoning, it acts. It might decide, okay, links it is. Where to put them? The user's Google account is connected. Google Sheets makes sense. It chooses the tool.
It chose Google Sheets itself, not because I told it to.
Precisely. It reasoned that was the best tool available for the task of compiling links, given the context.
Okay. And the source mentioned REACT, R-E-A-C-T.
Yes, REACT. It's a common way to structure these agents. Stands for reason and act.
Reason and act. Makes sense.
The agent reasons about the goal, figures out the steps, then acts using tools, observes the result, maybe reasons again to cycle.
Reason, act, reason, act. Okay. So what about improving the output? Making that LinkedIn post funnier, like in the workflow problem. How does the agent handle that? Does it still need me?
Nope. That's another key difference. An agent can iterate autonomously.
On its own? How?
So it might generate a draft LinkedIn post, Then its internal logic could say, okay, let me check if this draft is actually good according to my goal of engaging.
Uh-huh.
It could then potentially use another LLM call, maybe one specialized in analyzing social media quality, to critique its own draft.
It critiques itself.
Yeah, is this funny? Is it concise? Does it follow LinkedIn best practices?
Mm.
Then, based on that critique, it revises the draft.
Oh.
And it might repeat that loop, draft, critique, revise until it meets the quality criteria it set for itself based on your original goal. No human needed for that loop.
Okay, that is a major step up. It's like it has its own quality control built in.
Kind of, yeah. It's part of the reasoning and iteration process towards the goal.
The source had another real-world example, right? Something from Andrew Ng about skiers.
Yeah, the AI vision agent demo. That was cool.
What did it do?
So the idea was a user could just type in a keyword, like skier.
Okay.
The AI agent would then reason about what a skier looks like visually. You know, someone on skis, probably on snow, maybe moving fast, might have poles.
It figures out the visual characteristics.
Right. Then it would act. It would scan through video footage, analyzing the images, looking for segments that match its reasoned understanding of skier, and then it would index those clips, presenting them to the user.
So instead of a person watching hours of video, finding skiers, tagging them.
The agent does it. It reasons, what's a skier look like, and acts. Find and index skiers in this video, autonomously.
That really highlights the difference from just a tool or a workflow. It's making judgments and taking actions.
Exactly. It's not just following a rigid script. It's interpreting a goal and figuring out how to achieve it.
Okay, this is starting to click. Could we maybe do a super quick, simplified recap?
Yeah.
Just the 3 levels side by side.
Sure, good idea. Level 1, LLM. Basically, input, output. Text comes out based on prompt.
Simple enough. Level 2.
Level 2, AI workflow. Input, follows a predefined path, maybe using tools. Output, crucially, a human defines that path.
Human is the programmer.
Got it.
And level 3.
Level 3, AI agent. You give it a goal, the LLM it takes actions using tools.
Yeah.
It observes results. It iterates if needed. Final output, the key. The LLM is the decision maker.
Goal, reason, observe, iterate, output. With the LLM
Like
drag,
that's the core progression.
that really clarifies it. So the big takeaway, the thing to really remember is that agents aren't just fancier chatbots or more complicated workflows.
Right.
The fundamental shift is that autonomy, the ability to make decisions and figure things out on their own to reach a goal.
That's it, exactly. And hopefully understanding that distinction helps you, make sense of all the news and discussion around AI.
Yeah, cuts through the noise a bit. You can see where things were just LLMs, where they're workflows, and where they might actually be moving towards true agents.
Gives you a better framework for thinking about it all.
Definitely. So, okay, now that everyone listening has hopefully a clearer picture of these different levels, LLMs, workflows, agents, here's maybe something to chew on. Think about your own work, your own life. Where do you see tasks, not just for getting information like from a chatbot, but where a truly autonomous agent?
One that can reason and act on its own.
Yeah. Where could that actually be useful? What problems could it solve? Or what could it take off your plate if it could operate autonomously towards a goal you set?
Interesting question. Beyond the current tools.
Exactly. Something to think about. What's the potential you see now that you understand the difference?